Hi, it's Jordan Teen 1, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a brand new product from the makers of Rainbow Loom, and it's called the Wrapit Pro. So it's actually a brand new loom that was designed to help you make bracelets using beads. So it has nothing to do with rubber bands, but it really is a lot of fun. It's easy to use, and you can really use your imagination and creativity to come up with tons of new bracelet designs. So let me show you what is included when you buy your Wrapit kit. You're going to receive two different instruction booklets. The smaller one is going to show you how to actually assemble the main loom part here, and also the bead shaker. So the one instructions are in this darker blue, and then in this greenish blue it's going to tell you how to make the bead shaker, which is really quite simple. And then on the inside of that, it's going to show you different bracelets. It tells you exactly how much cord you need, how much wrap you need, and exactly how many beads and everything. So that's really nice. It has it all spelled out for you. And sorry if there's a glare on this. I'm trying to hold it so there is not this huge glare. And at the bottom here, there's a measuring guide, which is really nice. It shows you in inches and centimeters, so you can measure out your string for how much you need. Now the other booklet is going to be more detailed on how to use the loom itself. Here's a couple of different bracelet examples. But then, as you can see here, it's going to show you step by step how to measure, how to make your knots, how to use the bead shaker, and how to use the loom itself. So I will be going over all of that with you. And then on the back here is just a few tips. I'm really sorry about this glare. Now, as far as the products themselves, you have all of your plastic pieces that form the loom. So let me just take this out of the box, and then I'll go over how to put it together. So here are all my pieces. It's really very simple to put together. You're going to have 2 feet, and they're going to attach to this long track piece that has all these notches in it. So you're just going to go to the end square, push that on, and then same thing on the other side, just goes right in the other end square. And now you're going to have 2 additional pieces for your loom. The clamp is going to go on the right hand side. That's the piece that has the rubber band around it. And that's just going to slide right down onto this piece on the end. So they do show in the booklet that you can probably eventually buy additional track pieces to make longer designs, longer bracelets. But you do only get one within the kit. But if you did have an additional track piece, you could slide that on the right here. But since we only have one, we're just going to attach the clamp. And then on the opposite side, you're going to put the clip. And this is just going to go on the top here. It's going to slide on. So you want to have it's going to look sort of like a C. And you're going to put it on that way. And this just slides on the top. So it's actually very clever the way they've made it. It's very loose and slides back and forth on here. But when you actually attach your bracelet, the tension is going to pull this forward, and it has this piece here that will just dig down into any of the notches. So really you can make something super tiny. If you wanted to make like a little keychain, something to go on a keychain, it would slide forward, it would pull this down from the tension and would lock it in place. Or again, you can make it pretty much all the way to the end here. And then as far as your other pieces, there's the bead shaker. So it shows you can either attach it this way so it stands up tall, or I prefer it the other way so it's shorter. And you just want to slide this down in, and then you put your beads and you wiggle this back and forth, and they come down like a funnel. You'll also receive 425 beads, and they come in 8 different colors. So some of the beads you're going to get more of, and then some of the beads like this green color you're going to get less. So I guess they put the amount that you needed to follow the instructions that come with the booklet, but they do sell refill kits, or you can just go to your local craft store and buy any 6mm e-beads, and those are about the same size and work well with the bracelets. Now you're also going to get, it says on the box 5 buttons, but I somehow got 6 buttons, so I got a bonus. And then as far as your string goes, you're going to get 5 meters of the nylon cord. That's going to be the outside of the bracelet, what you're wrapping around. And then you'll get 5 meters of the wrap line. That's the thinner cord. And that's what you're going to string the beads on and what you're going to use to wrap around the nylon. You can find the Wrapit Pro loom on rainbowloom.com. It costs $15.99, and they do sell refill kits for $5.99. You can also find these at some independent toy stores such as Learning Express, and I did read that the looms will be available at Michael's this coming summer. And hopefully they will be available in the European market as well. Now here is the bracelet pattern that I'm going to be showing you in the tutorial. The one on the top here is the one I'm going to be showing because every single thing you see here is included in the kit that you're going to buy. So you can make this exact bracelet. Now the one on the bottom is the same exact pattern, but I've bought different materials at my local craft store. So actually this flower charm, that's the connector, that came out of a strand bands kit. And then the beads are glass beads. I can show you what the container looks like. They are check glass beads, size 6/0, or they're also called e-beads. And I think they're really pretty because they're really shiny and sort of like pearlish. Actually, this one is called gumballs. So I think it turns out really awesome. And then for my cord, I actually thought it would be a good idea to use some elastic cord so you can just easily pull your bracelet on and off. So I picked up this thick elastic cord. It's 1.2 millimeters. And as I said, the wrap cord is actually the same one that came within the kit. So I think it turns out really cool. The only thing I will say is if you do the elastic cord, just make sure that you don't have it pulled extra tight on your loom, because when you take it off, it's going to bunch together and they're all going to buckle up. So I had that happen just a little bit to me. So you want to have enough tension that there's not like a lot of slack in the line, but just enough so that it's taut. You don't want to overstretch it. Now to determine how much of the cord you need, you're going to measure your wrist, or you can go by the sizes that they suggest within the booklet. So they suggest about 30 inches, but I found that I used a piece that was about 27 or 28 inches. But you just want to unravel some, and it is going to be doubled. So you're just going to put this around your wrist, and you want it to fit comfortably around there, and then you want to have a couple extra of inches besides that. So I'm going to cut mine right about here. Now I've decided to use the flower button as one of my end closures, so I need to string my cord through. Now I actually was trying to do this on camera and was really struggling with it. So what I've decided to do is take a twist tie, just have the metal part here, and what I'm going to do is put this through, pick up the cord, loop the twist tie over, and pinch it closed. The thinner the metal piece, the easier it's going to slide through. And then I'm just going to pull this through. It's going to be a lot easier than me trying to do take after take of getting it to work. And then I need it to come back out the other side, so just going to do this again. Just pick up the end here, pinch the wire shut, and then I'm going to pull through So twist tie, and it's going to just bring this other piece right along through. So if you do find yourself struggling with that part like I just did, a twist tie or a piece of dental floss or a needle threader would work good. So now you just want to get the two ends lined up with one another. You're going to make sure your button's in the middle. Now you want to tie a knot right up against the button. So if you wanted to, you could do it together, work around and pull through, or you could tie it the way you would tie a shoelace, make a knot that way. So I want to make sure that my knot is all the way up against the button as close as I can get it. So I want to leave it on the loose side until I get it all the way up against. And then I'm going to pull and tighten it. And then I'm going to measure it on my wrist here. And again, I don't want it super tight, so a little bit on the loose side, maybe right about here. I'm going to make my first knot. And then I want to leave about an inch, or maybe about 3/4 of an inch, to be able to fit the button in. And then I'm going to make another knot. So let me just space that out. As I said, maybe about 3/4 of an inch or so. And then I think in the instructions they show an additional knot. So I'm not even 100% sure why we need this last knot, but I'll go ahead and make it. Maybe it's just to hold it on the clip. And then we're going to need to measure the next string. So for that, I would say you need approximately 36 inches. So if you have a ruler or a yardstick, you can use that to measure. If not, you can use the booklet. So at the bottom here, it shows 10 inches. So you would just have to measure 3 times would be 30. So start at the 0. We have 10. You're going to have to start back over. That's 20. Sorry if I'm off the camera here. We have 30. And then you want to do about 6 more. Really anywhere from 36 to 40. And then you would just cut that. Now I'm going to place the nylon cord onto the loom. So where the button is, that's going to go on the clamp side. It's the part with the rubber band. If you look to the side here, it's open, sort of like a circular shape. I'm going to just slide that button through. Now they do have a rubber band. If you wanted to, you could make it go through the rubber band as well for an added security. And then these pieces here split apart. And what you want to do is, from the side, get that apart and slide your nylon pieces through. So the button should stay pretty secure there. And then you want to make sure, this is important, that you have it totally straight. And then you're going to slide this however far up you need it. Again, this is going to split open, and the knot is going to hold that in place. So now what you're going to do is tighten this, and when you feel it start to grab here, you're going to pull it back about 3 additional clicks so that it's nice and tight. Now I have my loom in a vertical position because it's going to be easier for me to work with that way, and I think it's going to give you a closer up view of the section that I'm working on. So I have my beads in my bead shaker here. I have the colors for the first flower. So whatever color you're working on, you're going to need 6 of that color for the petal and then 1 for the center. So since they don't have yellow in the kit, I'm going to be using white, but you could certainly go to your local store and buy some yellow. So the idea of this is you just carefully wiggle back and forth and the beads slide down the track. Honestly, I really don't find it that helpful, but maybe you will. So I'm actually just going to take this off to the side so I can put the loom in the middle. The first thing you're going to do is to take your wrap line and lay it across the top of your cord. And I would recommend just sort of separating your cord just a little bit so you have some space in the middle. You're going to take either end of your wrap line and you're going to fish it up through, and then you're just going to pull. So you want to make sure that your ends are even with one another, just so you have the same amount of wrap line on either side. And then you're going to push that all the way up to the top. And make sure that they are staying on their respective sides here. I think mine got twisted. There we go. And then I'm going to string my first layer of beads. So I have my pink. I'm going to do 2 pink. So I'm going to be always stringing on the right first. So it goes through. Take my second pink. And you can see I'm stopping this about an inch or so down with my fingers. And then what I'm going to do is take the other side and I'm going to fish that through there. Get it to go through both beads. So now you can see it's coming out the other side. And then I'm going to take one end in one hand, one end in the other. So you can see it's an X. And I'm just going to very carefully string that through. So it's a little bit more difficult at first to get started. You do have to separate this. Make sure it's slid all the way up to the top and then it's pulled nice and tight. So now what you have to do, and don't forget this because it is easy to forget, is you have to take each of these sides and they have to come up through and go back. They're staying on their same side. So I have this side done, and I'm doing the same with the other. Again, I'm pulling that up to the top. So that's the wrapping part of the Wrapit bracelet. And then we're going to do our second. So for this next part, again, I'm always working in the right here since I'm right-handed, but really either side will do. You're going to take your color of your petal, you're going to take your center color, and then your petal color again. So that's going to be 3 beads. The pattern's always going to go 2, 3, 2. So again, I like it to go down maybe about an inch or 2 from the edge. And then I hold these beads in my fingers. I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to take the other end, and I have to make sure that this gets through all 3. So now I have both ends, making that X. And I'm going to just pull through all the way. Make sure that they're nice and even and straight and pulled tight after every row. That's going to give you your neatest look. And then don't forget, you have to pull the one side up through, keep it on the same side, pull the other side up through, keep that on its same side. So when you first start, I think your string tends to be a little bit more ornery. It doesn't want to really stay in position, but once you get a few down, it's going to get a little bit easier. So we have just 2 beads left, both petal colors. So again, I'm going to put them on the right, leave about an inch or so at the end, and then I'm just going to slide this through. Sometimes when you do this, they go right through, super easy, and then other times you have to play around till you get it to go through. Just make sure it doesn't come all the way back and go off the other end. So you have your X, grab either end, slide that all the way up. Again, it's got to come up through, keeping them on their respective sides. And then it doesn't hurt, you can always go back and retighten. You want to make sure you have it as snug as possible, but don't pull it so hard that it's making the other ones bunch out of place. You want it to still stay flat, but also nice and tight. Now my next flower is going to be purple. This is the last flower I'll do with you, and then I'll let you do the rest on your own since it's just very repetitive. But we're starting with 2 beads to begin the top of our petals. So whatever color you have, just doing the 2 outside color. And then get that to go on both sides of this Wrapit string. Make your X, slide all the way up to the top, and then again pull up through the middle, and then next we're going to have purple to start, and then your center color, and then again your petal, get the other side, make sure it goes through both here, so you have your X, pull all the way up, nice and tight, and then pull these up through. Two more. I think the hardest part is getting it in your fingers positioned correctly to go on the string nice and straight. Way up, and then don't forget, get each side to come up through and over. So really that's all there is to it. You'll just keep repeating with whatever color pattern you want for your flowers. So I'm just going to let you go ahead and pause here, finish out your bracelet, and then I'll show you how to tie it all off at the end. Now I've finished making my flowers. I made it down to the other end of my knot, and what I need to do is just secure off this wrap line. So I'm just going to take the 2 ends, cross one over the other, and pull through the loop just like you were tying your shoelace. And I'm going to do that probably 3 times here. So my string is getting kind of short. That was 2. And then once more. Make sure that's nice and tight. And then I can just trim the edges. And now all I need to do is to remove this from either side of my loom. And then here is my bracelet. So we have the section here where we can put the button on for the closure. I guess they tell you to tie 3 knots so you can have 2 different sizes for your button. If you need to make it larger or smaller. So you would just put it around your wrist, split this band apart, slide through your button, and then you have a nice closure. I hope that everyone loves the new Wrapit Pro loom just as much as I do, and I hope that you're thrilled with the way that your daisy chain bracelets turned out. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook. You can post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that way you can be notified when I have new tutorials available. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please leave me comments and post your pictures there too. If you do post on Instagram, don't forget to tag me, and please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!